NSFW, what is the craziest thing you witnessed at a party? There's a certain club in Berlin. If you go to the men's bathroom, you're almost certainly going to run into this one guy who's been there for years, who will beg you and other random men to piss on his face, and thank you if you do. He will do it for hours every night. He is pretty polite and doesn't force you to piss on him, though he will beg you for it. I've seen a lot of crazy things, but this one dude is impossible to forget. Bruh, out of everything I've read, this has to be by far the most outlandish, and yet somehow more believable than it should be. I once got stabbed in the ducking chest at a party. This guy had a ceramic plate of wings, was drunk, and I accidentally bumped into him, dropping his wings and plate. He got so ducking mad he picked up a shard of the plate and stabbed me with it. I ended up going to the hospital, but was mostly okay. I love me some wings. But he probably shouldn't have stabbed you over that. Did you press charges? No. He chickened out. Got a gun pointed at my crotch by the girl whose apartment the party was at. She laughed and said it wasn't loaded. Then some guy called her back over to the table where he was sitting. He said, "Give me that," and proceeded to pull out the magazine. I left about them. My granddad likes to say it's always an unloaded gun that kills someone. Luckily that wasn't the case this time. The two loudest sounds in the world are a bang when you expect a click and a click when you expect a bang. These guys were trying to cook a pig, which none of them have ever done. So these geniuses came up with a plan to build a fire pit, lay the pig on top, then place a cast iron bathtub over the pig to cook all day. When it was time to feed the partiers, they removed the tub to find nothing but ashes. They cremated a pig. This made me laugh out loud at work. I'm just imagining the anticlimax of a bunch of people gathered around expecting a delicious roast pig, and instead getting some sort of campfire ash ceremony instead. Reminds me of Christmas Vacation, when they cut the turkey. Guy had a warrant out for his arrest for something stupid. No idea what. He saw flashing lights outside and panicked. He climbed out a tiny bathroom window without telling anyone, and spent almost 2 hours on the roof, hiding in case the police came back. It wasn't the police. It was the meter maid checking for parking violations. If they call in a helicopter, he'd be a sitting duck. He really wasn't a smart guy to begin with, and I'm pretty sure he was drunk/high. If a helicopter had flown over, like a traffic copter or something, he would have lost his ducking mind. An extremely drunk/high guy, I have no idea. He was wobbling around and hallucinating, and he made my bed. I watched, also fairly drunk, from the corner of my room, as he fell on top of it over and over while attaching the sheets and tucking them under the mattress. Guy's mother must have drilled some crazy sense of duty into him. You just reminded me of the last time I was in the hospital. I was ducked up on some kind of sedative and the nurse walked in on me making my bed. When she asked what I was doing, I told her and then insisted on finishing the corners square. I'm not sure what it's called. It's a very tight series of folds on the bottom corner of the bed, kind of like an envelope. Close bracket. She said, "We don't even do that here." Apostrophe. To which I replied my mother was awful, but she taught me how to make a bed. Apostrophe. LMAO, that's great. They're called hospital corners, although they've been replaced with fitted sheets mostly, at least at the ER I worked at. Probably for convenience. Close bracket. House party in 1990. I was 19 and in college. The crowd was mostly farm and ranch kids, rodeo team people, a lot of HS girls. I was drinking a beer at the kitchen table talking to some people, playing one card no peeky. 2 brothers lived in the house we were partying in. Parents were gone. There was a rear projection TV in the living room with MTV or something on it. The older brother, maybe 20, was laying on a beanbag on the living room floor in front of the TV. Younger bro comes in, sees older bro asleep on the beanbag. Younger bro decides he's going to fart on older bro while he sleeps. Younger bro undoes his pants, drops trowel, and squats over older brother's nose, and pushed. From my perspective, the whole thing was silhouetted by the television screen. A lone turd slithered out of younger bro and landed on older bro's face. Younger bro whispers, "Oh, duck," because older bro had opened his eyes. Younger bro takes off running out of the house. Older brother sits up, sniffs, picks up the turd, and yelled "you shit on my face." Dead silence all around. Older bro gets up and leaves the room and heads down the hall. Comes back a minute later with a 12 gauge pump, feeding shells into the magazine as he walked. Younger bro is outside getting into his truck when he sees older bro coming out the front door. Ib fires up his truck and tore out of the yard while Ob is shooting the hell out of the back of that pickup. I didn't party there anymore. Bro, I'm gonna get so shit-faced tonight. Apostrophe. Little did he know. Guy showed up with a duck on a leash. Fucking wild man. Fucking Ziggy and that damn duck. Exclamation mark. Ziggy, you better not pull out your dick again. A very fat friend of mine was extremely drunk and said I'm gonna do a flip, and did a complete front flip, landing on a plastic chair, which broke and sliced his arm open. Hey, but at least he did the flip. He was very aerodynamic for a 260-pound dude. Okay, this is so weird that, even though it happened to me, I still kind of can't believe it. Austin, Texas 2008-ish. I was living with 6 people in Hyde Park and all of us were under 30 and kind of a hot mess. We were all good friends and would drink way too much and go to parties all the time. So one of my roommates hits me up and tells me about a party nearby and gives me the address. I don't really know anyone there, but I don't really care because I'm gonna go get drunk anyways. So I ride my bike over to some apartment complex and start looking for the right app number. I take a turn around one of the buildings and suddenly I see a fully naked 20-something girl making out with a fully clothed 20-something dude in the parking lot. She is pressing him up against the wall and both of them are too busy to notice me. So I note the duck right out of there and wonder how the duck anyone could be that bold. I repeat, this girl was full on naked, like without any socks or nothing, in a parking lot alley of sorts at night. I finally find the right apartment and my roommate still has not made it. I break the ice with all these strangers by telling them about this weird ass scenario that just happened and everyone has a good laugh. It turns out a bunch of them live here too, and they start to ask me what they looked like. Just as I'm finishing the details about what the guy was wearing and what the girl's hair looked like, the people that were ducking walk right in the door. Dead silence. Then straight up, "Hey, why, this new kid just saw you ducking in parking lot," followed by howling and cackling. The girl, who was surprisingly clothed now, turned bright red and dragged the speechless guy she was with to her room in dead silence. By this point I felt like I ducked up. I knew it would be a good icebreaker, but I never would have in a million years expected them to walk in the door. Then someone who lived there said not to worry about it and handed me a beer, like without any socks. This was my favorite bit, like really naked. Out by the BBQ at the back of the house late at night and mates urging me to look through the toilet window. I did, and it was my older sister getting shagged up against the door. Our eyes met. It was horrible. Back in college, my boyfriend once walked into another room at his house party to see his sister sucking his best friend's dick. Well, that's game over, man. Game over. I opened the wrong door and witnessed a girl start to vomit on my friend's dick as she was sucking it. That's what you get for not knocking. She never said they didn't knock. Perhaps the drunks heard the knock and automatically said, "come in," or "yeah," instead of be right out. Apostrophe. Guy tried to kill himself in the bathroom tub by slashing his wrists. It was a small-ish party in an apartment with one bathroom, so people had to pee, so thankfully they got to him in time. We broke down the door when he finally said what he was doing and called an ambulance. He lived. Also went to a psych ward for a few weeks after this. That is so sad. I'm glad he got the help he needed and hope it did indeed help. / I went to a college Halloween party about 8 years ago. There was this dude dressed up in a pink gorilla costume just going ham. Life of the party. Dude went a little too hard. He ended up throwing up directly into his gorilla mask while wearing it, and then followed it up by power yeeting himself down the stairs. An ambulance came for him, and we saw him again the next morning when he returned as a regular colored human and a cast on his leg. If that man has survived the last 8 years and has any transferable job skills of any sort, Please forward me his resume. Any person willing to yeet themselves down a flight of stairs in a gorilla costume just for the lulz is an automatic hire. It's unclear if the yeet was for the lulz or from the booze. I was at a New Year's party years ago in some house of a guy I kinda know. 2 guys were there and we all assumed them to be a couple because of how touchy-feely they were. Turns out they just met that night, but had a wicked intense connection like immediately. So I'm in the chill out room chatting to people when I needed to piss. I got up and made my way to the toilet. On my way back I chose the wrong room and walked into the coke room. One of the 2 gay guys walked in behind me, also lost. I knew a couple of the guys in the coke room, so I stalled to have a chat, politely saying no to the seedy case of limes. The guy behind me is interested and pushes in between us. This knocks the coke guy over and a few lines fall to the carpet. We yell. All hell breaks loose. Coke guy puts the coke down and starts fighting the gay guy. Some of the guys start trying to calm things, so I go looking for the guy's boyfriend. I tell him your boyfriend is in a fight. He doesn't really know what to do. He explains how he just met him tonight, literally 15 odd minutes before midnight, when he was just looking for a New Year's shift. This was about 4 am, so he knew this guy less than half a day. He did go see if he could help, but the 2 guys were separated and both told to stay away from each other. This worked for about 10 minutes before they bumped into each other in the hall. They start to fight and are broken up again. This happens twice more before the guys whose house it is, the house guy, tells the coke guy to get out. He seemed to be the one causing it. He asks for a couple minutes to get his stuff together, his coke, and so he can take a piss. The lads say okay, but then he can go. He takes his coke to the bathroom and we laugh. He's not taking a piss. We leave him there and I go back to the chill room with gay guy who is now being grilled by some hippie girl over what happened. He doesn't seem too comfortable talking to her, so excuses himself. After a few minutes, he is not back, so his not boyfriend goes to find him. He returns, looking shook and sad. He can't get the words out, so I go up. I hear bumping and shoes scuffling in the bathroom and I immediately think they're fighting in there. I call the guys who live here and they jam me the door open. There is coke guy on top of gay guy, absolutely eating the face off each other. Hands down, pants and all. They realize they've been caught and gay guy goes beet red. Coke guy, for reasons only God knows, gets so embarrassed he punches gay guy and jumps at house guy. He gets kicked out and gay guy follows him. The other gay guy is sitting downstairs completely bewildered and quite upset. Hippie girl is trying to comfort him. House guy is asking everyone if anyone had any idea that coke guy was gay or bi or whatever. It's a surprise to them all. I sit down in the hippie circle and sympathize with my new friend. Hippie girl then tries it on with him. Leans right in for the kiss. He obviously rejects her. She gets upset and leaves. He sits there, smoking a joint, staring off at the wall and just says, "What a ducking night." Apostrophe. We're all other gay guy now. Of all the guys in this story, other gay guy is my favorite guy. A rando who wound up at a house party asked a couple people if they had heroin. And after we kicked him out, he came back to the smokers area in the alley out back and tried to physically carry a drunk girl off down the back alley. We intervened and got her inside and safe. But that was pretty ducking crazy. Be careful out there, kids. I hope he was physically trying to carry her. We don't need heroin junkies with telekinesis walking around right now. Lol. Caveman style, not Chronicle style. I went to a house party that got out of control. I was part of the clearing out squad, and I found a very coked up dude in the bathroom washing his face in the sink, which appeared to filled with blood, like horror movie levels of blood. Apparently he was punched in the face by somebody with a big ring, which had sliced his nose, essentially, off. I will never forget him stuperously turning towards me to say something, and his nose following his head on a 2-second delay like a door on a hinge. He looked like Red Skull from the Marvel movies. That is gruesome. Did you ever find out what happened to the guy? Nope. Party had gotten out of control, so we didn't even know who he was. We got everyone into the front yard, killed the circuit breaker to the house, lights out, and called the cops. It was my friend's party, so I stayed the night and nothing eventful really happened once everyone was kicked out. Went to some girl's house party who made the mistake of saying, when everyone was robbing her dad's stuff, okay, everyone can take just one item. Obviously that didn't go well, her house got obliterated. She got kicked out by her parents not long after the party and ended up on heroin. Very sad story and nobody knows for 100% certain, but whenever we reminisce about it, my friends and I are pretty sure it's that house party that sparked her downward spiral, as she was a well-educated girl and quite well off before that situation happened. She also ended up on Kilroy, an old British talk show, talking about the dangers of heroin and homelessness years later. Yes, you can't get much lower than being on Kilroy, except for being on Jeremy Kyle. Hosted a party once and stayed sober, so my house won't turn into a wreck. Walked into my room and saw the biggest guy in my class, bodybuilding kind of big, drunk AF sitting on my bed watching reruns of SpongeBob SquarePants and eating nachos. Then looked at me dead in the eye and said, "What? It's a good show. Edit, typos. Sounds like my kinda guy." Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.